What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of REV Bookstore Book Club. It's all bookshelf. It's all the books, all into it. I am Josh, alongside the lovely soul, the book of December was Stephen King, which he had a pseudonym, I believe, technically for this book. This typical type of books, the
Richard
Stand by
Bachman.
Me's, Richard Bachman, the Stand by Me's, the Shawshank Redemption style books, rather than the horrors of the It's and the Cujos and Maximum Overdrive, or whatever it's called. This was my first Stephen King book that I've actually. I know I listened to it. We're no audiophobes here, and so also did listen to the audiobook. Shout out to Kirby Hayborn. He did a wonderful job on it. But Soul, how we doing?
Doing good. If this was one, if I'm being completely honest here, I would have DNF'd this book if I wasn't listening to it in audiobook. This was one that I needed to switch from physical to the audiobook. I'm glad I didn't buy it. I'm glad I used my library. Use your library, folks. Mm-hmm. Not a bad book, but it's not a book for me.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I was just kind of bored with it for most of it, because there was just it would get there, but it wouldn't go the distance. Shout out Hercules, of what the book had. And I understand why it became a movie, because you could just see that there was the world building there, but there was a lot of no world building at all. There's just a lot of question marks that really could have fleshed out and put more stakes in what we were reading or listening to, I guess. But we'll just say reading, guys. Okay, yes, listen to the audiobook. Let's just say reading for the sake of it. But this, you could tell, it just, I didn't feel the stakes a lot of times, because it was a lot of fodder to me that he was having. Now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't invested in the certain characters that were in the book, or even when we got introduced to one real quick and then they were out of the book. But I was surprised at how much I was like, when is something going to happen, or something going to be fleshed out? And there really wasn't anything fleshed out until the last 75%, or last 25% of the book.
Oh, well, maybe we should give a little summary of what this book's about, so that way people know, if they haven't watched, what The Long Walk is.
Yeah. So The Long Walk is set in an alternate dystopian version of the United States following an unspecified war. The plot revolves around the Long Walk, an annual contest in which 100 young men walk continuously along a prearranged route. Walkers must keep a minimum pace of 4 miles per hour and are issued verbal warnings by soldiers monitoring their progress if they fall below the speed for 30 seconds. A walker can lose one warning if he walks for an hour without earning another. If a walker receives 3 warnings and falls below the minimum speed for 30 seconds, again, he is shot and killed by the soldiers. There are no breaks or rest periods of any sort, although the walkers do receive food and water, and the walk does not have a set distance or time limit. It ends only when one walker remains alive, receiving whatever he wants for the rest of his life as a prize. And a lot of times when a walker is done, they say getting your ticket. So they say that a lot. As for those who've watched Yellowstone, it's like taking them to the train station is kind of their saying of getting their ticket.
And kind of continuing on the non-spoiler thoughts of this book, I hate that we don't really know anything about this world. Why? You can tell and infer that it's a dystopian world, but you don't really know why is it. And if you compare it to like Hunger Games, where like Hunger Games, you know what the setup of the world is, you know why the Hunger Games exist, you know why this is happening, where in this book you have no idea, you're just plopped in. And I thought maybe like, okay, we're going to be plopped in and then we're going to get backstory on what this world is or why it is. We only get like very little small tidbits of what the world is. We'll get into that when we go into spoilers. But it's just like, okay, there's not a lot of world building. This is very character focused, which is not a bad thing, but I wish that we knew more about the world. And as you said, concept of the book, very interesting. I would love to see the movie to see if some of the things that I don't like in the book is either fixed or done better. You see this sometimes with like like Robert Kirkman having a second crack of like Invincible, which is a great comic, but then he has a second crack at it to do with the show, and there's some changes that he's made from the comic to the show that like I'm like, ooh, I like that even more. So I would wonder if that would be the case with, I don't know how involved Stephen King was with the movie, that maybe they took some stuff from the book and made it better. Who knows?
Well, I mean, Stephen King hated the theatrical version of The Shining, which people still say is one of the greatest cinematic things they've ever seen.
True,
he hated it so much they made a TV movie that he actually liked, and that thing was god awful. So, take it what you want. But which recently found out this, it wasn't like he just published this. But he wrote this book when he was very young, I believe.
I mean, it was published in 1979, so
right.
He didn't just publish this anyway.
Oh, sorry. Let me refrain. It's just because I didn't know that this book existed until this year when the movie came out, and then people started to go back and I guess read it. Now, obviously, you can, and I was surprised because we want to get into spoilers yet, but once I realized that it was one of the first books that he ever published, I'm like, oh, I can understand that now because it's a little choppy.
It's not the first book that he published. It's one of the first books that he wrote. And then he published other books before this one, but this one was one that he wrote back when he was in high school and college, and he kept coming back to it. So this is a story that existed in his head before other stories that he published beforehand. So this is not his first published work, but it is one of his like the oldest stories in his head.
Gotcha. Okay, but yeah, it just once I understood that he was very young when he wrote this, I was like, okay, I guess I understand it because I was expecting more fleshed out world. That's the one thing I realized that if you don't flesh out the world, it really takes me out of the book, and it just didn't do it. And
so you're a plot first before character.
Yeah, person? I need I'm a big exhibition guy. I need some exhibition. Okay, I need the this happened 5,000 years before this story took place. I need some of that stuff. All right, because that way if you get me immersed in the world, shout out Blood Over Brighthaven. If you get me immersed in the world, I am in and I am with you throughout the ride. And this was a ride. I'm not going to sit there and say it wasn't, but I felt like I still had my training wheels on, even though I wanted the bike to go down the hill and really take me on a ride.
I do like a good plot. I do like world building. I might be a little bit more of a character person than you. I like both. Give me all the things, porque no las dos. But I do like some of the interpersonal relationships or like friendships that are in this book. Especially between like Garrity and McBride's, but yeah, there could have been a little bit more plot than they just be walking. Also, 4 miles, what was it, 4 miles an hour for them?
Yeah, at least it has to be a minimum 4 miles an hour.
That's fast.
That's fast.
That's a power walk.
These are just kids, Mox. These are just kids.
I mean, I don't know if you guys at the gym, when you put it to 4 miles an hour, that's a good workout.
Yeah, but yeah, in general, I was left wanting more and a little bit of. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, I feel that. But we're gonna go into spoilers. We're gonna get into the story a little bit. So if you haven't read the book, go read the book. Come back. Unless you don't care about spoilers, then welcome.
Yeah.
But so typically we do like to go story beat by beat. We're not going to do that this time because it would just be they had horny thoughts or said horny things. Someone dies, they keep walking. Something horny. Someone dies, they keep walking. That's the middle of the book.
They describe the people that are watching them a lot.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk favorite moments, least favorite moments, what the fuck moments, and comment on how many horny moments there are in this book, because there's a lot. And that's another thing with this that turned me off in this book. And I'm not a prude, go watch our wrap it up. You can see what my favorite show is at the moment. So definitely not a prude. But this was like horniness and like sexual stuff.
It was random. That's the thing.
For no reason.
It's random.
Random, like boobs. It was like very ADHD.
Well, I mean, to be fair, and from the other side of it, these are 16-year-old boys, so that are going through that stage in their life where they're just like
from age 12 to age 18 is what the walkers are.
So it's like you're talking about teenage boys, and Stephen King wrote this when he was in high school, so he's still in that phase. So, but it's just of a book. It should not just be ADHD boobs and girl comes in and he describes her whole figure and then randomly
every single time just
yeah. Now them ripping on each other and talking about your mom this and your dad and that like that's stuff.
Yeah, and like even if there was like one or two, but like it was literally every chapter for a while. We will get into it. As we talked about, not a lot of plot in this, but plot moments that give you some information about the outside world, because like I said, not much. We learned that $2 billion are bet on the long walk each year, so get your bets in. What's sport betting site are they using for the long walk? Who knows? And then Garrity's father got squatted, which is the term they used for his outspoken political opinions when Garrity was young. I wish we knew what that was or more about the world to know what his political opinions were that upset the government to then remove him from their home. That's just a throwaway line in the book.
There are a lot of throwaway lines in this book.
And then people who watch the long walkers aren't allowed to give food or water. If they try, they get arrested. We see this with one like Italian guy who was trying to give them watermelon. And then this is a quote, in the old days before the change and the squads, when there were still millionaires, they used to set up foundations and build libraries and all that good shit. This is a throwaway line there. So this world, millionaires don't exist anymore. But that is all we know about the outside world outside of this long walk.
Yeah. But and really and truly, it's like you really don't like a lot of the characters that you get introduced. You really don't know why they're doing it. Like, they never really explain. Or when they're like, "What are you going to do with the prize?"
And that is, I was okay with that. Of like, we get some of their motivations, and I don't need to know all 100 of their motivations. And I like that we get some of them, like McBride's the stuff like girlfriend, and there is a line later that I put like in my favorite moments where like basically, why are we doing this? Because we want to die. Kind of is what one of the person said. Like when it comes down to it, it's like they could all have their reasons, and they can. But when it comes down to the actual reason is that they want to die. And so they're like, might as well fucking do this thing where I'm probably going to die. And which is very morbid, but then maybe that tells you a little bit about the world that they're living in, is that like
life's so bad.
Yeah, but anyway, favorite moments. Josh, what is a favorite moment of yours in this book?
Any interaction with McVrees and Garrity and their like brotherhood that they bounded so much, and the sad part of Garrity trying to, that was the one thing that really freaking worked with this book, was those two and the bond that they got, because man, it hurt when Garrity, and you could feel the pain in Garrity when McVrees, because McVrees saved his ass numerous times, especially when the girlfriend that we didn't know about till a little bit later after he made out with the girl in the beginning of the book. And Garrity McVrees kept him on the path. McVrees, and like I said, and also Stebbins, I wish we would have gotten more of him talking throughout the book, where there was, the head down type of stuff, because McVrees and Stebbins was like the yin and yang, and then Garrity was like the middle character, because Stebbins was all just F everyone, I'm doing this, everyone sucks, go away. And McVrees was trying to make he was like the moral, like he was trying to get everybody morals on like a morality. He was trying to, he was the vibes guy, and if the kids call it that.
He was the vibes guy, but he's the nihilistic guy too.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Like he wasn't without his flaws, but
he was the most nihilistic of like, well, we're all gonna fucking die anyways.
Yeah, I remember him saying that, but it just, every time he said it, it just came across as just a smiling jokester, even if it was nihilistic. And Stebbins was so stern and just F everybody. And then it took us literally 95% of the book to figure out why. And then once he reveals why, I'm like, thanks, that could have been said earlier, to where you understood his character a lot earlier. But my favorite part, to go back to it, is the relationship between Garrity and McVrees.
I would agree there. And I kind of broke down some of the moments there. Garrity, I would say more Garrity was the moral compass in this book, because he was the one who like the money doesn't equal happiness that you get in like chapter 2, or he's the like, let's be nice to each other, where McBride was more of the nihilistic, like, well, doesn't matter in the end kind of guy. So I would actually put the morality onto Garrity.
Okay.
But McBride obviously cares enough about Garrity, and it's only with Garrity that he's like trying to save Garrity or keep Garrity alive. You're not really seeing McBride do this with other people, where you're seeing Garrity wanting to keep everyone that he creates a friendship and a bond with alive, which means extending the walk, because if the people around you stay alive, then that means the walk goes longer, because the walk only ends after everyone but one is dead. Go ahead.
Last thing I will say, I did like at least the foreshadowing of the book is them talking, because they know what they're getting into, because this is broadcast, kind of like Hunger Games. It is broadcast. So everyone knows what's going on. They can watch it the whole time. So it's not like they didn't know what they were getting into. But when Curly, shout out to Curly, when he was the first one, because of the cramp and the Charlie horse and all that stuff, when he's the first one, it's like, okay, it's real. Like it all becomes real to them. After Curly gets taken out. And crap, I forgot what else I was going to say. So keep going, then I'll think about it.
So like my first favorite moment I have here, chapter 6, McBride's having a justifiable crash out, and Garrity taking 3 warnings to make sure he doesn't get shot. So they save each other a lot in
McBride's wanted to fight everybody.
So Garrity going, I thought you were going to buy it. McBreeze, fuck, we're all going to buy it. Garrity, somebody wins. It may be one of us. McBreeze, it's a fake. There's no winner, no prize. They take the last guy out behind the barn somewhere and shoot him too. Garrity, don't be so fucking stupid. McBreeze, everyone loses. And this is where it makes you think, can you really win after going through an experience like this in a long walk? And it goes like later to spoiling to the end of the book, is Garrity technically wins, but he's hallucinating and thinks that he's still in the walk, and so he's going, and he even runs, and it's just like he doesn't win. No one can actually win,
right? And that's what I remember is kind of highlighting. As soon as I read that, I'm like, okay, this is probably this kind of letting you know that even if you win, you lose. It's because they describe a past winner and him of like the guy that won, and all he did was in the other person's, the second place winner's arms, and like he's like, he didn't celebrate, he didn't do nothing, he just was in the guy's arms breaking down crying. And
they talked about a winner that like basically he physically exerted himself so much that a week later after winning he died. Kind of and I was seeing this as a philosophical question of like, yeah, you win, but then you lose your humanity in the process of winning, kind of like where you see with like Katniss in the Hunger Games of like having to kill people or watching people die around you, that you lose a part of yourself.
It's the Thanos line of what did it cost you? Everything.
And then chapter 7, McBride's talking about the people who come to watch the long walk and realizing how dumb each of them were to join the long walk, because the long walk is voluntary. You're not forced to do this.
This ain't Hunger Games. You don't volunteer as tribute. Well,
Yeah.
they technically did volunteer, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, Rise quote says, "They're animals, all right, but what makes you so goddamn sure that makes us human beings?" And so Garrity asks him why he's even doing it if he knows that much, and Stebbins answers for him saying, quote, "The same reason we're all doing it. We want to die. That's why we're doing it. Why else?" So I want to ask you, do you agree with Stebbins? Are they doing it because they all want to die?
See, that's the thing is, you really don't know what a lot of these. There's 100 of them, so you're not gonna highlight a lot of them, but you really don't know what they're all going through in a sense. And most of the time, when you enter those type of things, like if you know what you're getting into, the risk of dying, so they either have already accepted that, it's just like, all right, there's nothing else. Their backs against the wall. But you really don't get that from you don't really get that from Baker. You don't really get that from McVrees. You don't really get that from Garrity. Stebbins is the only one that's just like, and we realize that he's.
I would say you get it from Rick Freeze that like the situation.
The nihilist is stuff, but Baker's, yeah. I don't know.
And I would say with like some of them, it's for glory. Some of them, it's for money, probably, but you don't really know. But a few of them, when they like, you actually see why they like. There's the one character that did it just because, and you could. At first, you think, "Oh, this is just going to be an asshole character who's just an asshole the complete time," and he was an asshole. But I'm forgetting his name. It's like a Slavic last name.
Yeah, I forgot.
But he actually had a moment where, like, even to Garrity was just like, "Oh, like he scares me more now because he's showing a human side of himself, where before he was just thinking of him as an asshole," and like he joined because he wanted to see people die and laugh at them as they die. So like,
what was the one kid's name? Because I couldn't remember it. And hey, anybody in the chat that's read the book, if you can remember the name as well, put it in the chat. Is the kid that did it because he wanted to document and write a book about the experience. I forget that kid's name.
Yeah, I forget that kid's name too. But yeah, he was just like, "Oh, I can make so much money from writing a book," and they were like, "Well, you're gonna make so much money anyways if you win."
Right.
But,
yeah.
And then chapter 8, McBride's telling Garrity about his ex and how he was in love with her. She broke his heart, and that is why he signed up for the long walk. This story was sad.
Yeah.
And then McBride's also, after telling the story, kind of is, he could see a little bit through Garrity, because Garrity in this, and we'll get when we get talk about all the horny moments when we get there, it's like he's thinking about his girlfriend a lot, and he even to himself is saying like, "Oh, I'm putting her at a higher pedestal than I actually feel about her, because I'm using her as motivation to win this and to keep walking and to keep going." And McBride could see that, where it's just like, you're talking about your girlfriend in a way that like you probably don't actually feel this way about her. You're just using her as motivation to stay alive. And because he's like, you're really only talking about the good moments. In all relationship, there's good and bad kind of things. And he's just talking like about this great love, and he tells him, "You fake your way, I'll fake mine."
Yeah.
Which I thought
was this also the conversation where McVrees is basically telling him like, "Dude, you're in love with her," and he was like, "No, I don't know about that." And McVrees like kind of describes everything. He goes, "Oh, I guess I am in love with her."
I think it might be a separate conversation there, but yeah, I think this was before that. And then McVrees then asks Garrity why he's here, and Garrity says he doesn't know. Yeah. So, and I think that's valid if like for a character to not know why they signed up and then maybe figure out why later. And I wish King would have had that for at least some of the characters, of them like, because sometimes you do things and so, like consciously you don't know why you do it, but subconsciously you do, and it takes a while to figure out why you did something. And I felt like that could have been a device used in this book, and it wasn't. You just never found out why.
Just a lot of like dipping the toe in the water, but you still don't know what the temperature of it is.
Yeah. And
No, I hope that analogy works.
And I loved this quote in chapter 12. Any game looks straight if everyone is being cheated at once. I was like, that's a good quote. And then and then the last of my favorite moments is Garrity telling McBride that his girlfriend told him she would have sex with him as often as he wanted if he backed out of the long walk back when he could have. He told her that it would have made him feel like an opportunist and a heel, which I was like, ooh, Josh might probably like that because they used.
I was like, all right, Stephen King with some wrestling lingo. All right.
Because he used it twice.
Yeah.
She got mad at him and told him it was better than feeling dead. And then she begged him and he couldn't say yes. So Garrity persuaded his mother by the thought of financial security to be able to do this. And then McBride was talking about how he wasn't originally chosen. He was an alternate and he joined against his parents' wishes. And McBride said that his 4-year-old little sister, Katerina, seemed to be the only one who understood. She kept saying, Petey's going on an adventure.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, that's sad. So those were my favorite moments in the book. Do you have any other favorites you want to highlight?
Garrity basically he was broken. My favorite moments are actually when shit starts hitting the fan to like chapter 10 and on. Because a lot of other stuff, it's just like, it was cool, like how like he was going to like, okay, now we're in this town, and how the sun and the temperatures and stuff like that. So he was good on letting you know kind of where they were emotionally were and how much it was really weighing on them. So I did enjoy that. But my favorite moment probably was when Jan, his girlfriend, and his mom showed up, and Garrity just was like broken, and he was just like holding on to him. And good God, did McVrees like work his ass off to get Garrity back on the road?
Yeah.
On that, and that was one of my favorite moments, because it really showed the bond that they created at that point, and also how broken this, because right after that happened, a lot of the other contestants really started to show how much they were exhausted.
Yeah,
and that stuff was, yes, it was heart-wrenching, but that's good shit too.
Yeah. And I can see how that would play out in the movie, and that would probably like make people go,
oh, the McVrees, McVrees bit it. That I was like, all right, Stephen, this book has pissed me off a lot, but that moment between those two moments between McVrees and Garrity, when McVrees got him away, and then also Garrity saving McVrees from fighting that guy, like they both were saving each other left and right, and the fact that it felt like McVrees was saving Garrity more often than not, and you really felt Garrity's guilt because he just couldn't get McVrees back on the road.
Yeah. And McVrees throughout the whole time was just like, I'm going to keep going till I feel like not going, and then I'm just going to sit down and die. And he was like, literally, it was the three of them left at the end, and McVrees was like, okay, it's my time to sit down and die.
And the saddest one was Baker, really, because he got hit, and he was just like, and Garrity just like, they both knew, but he was just kind of like, it was like, I'll make you as comfortable as you possibly can. It was like that type of moment, and he was just like, because like the whole, like the writing, this was like when Stephen King was in his bag, and he was just like, and when Baker was like, because it was raining, he was like, does the rain feel warm? Or is it something else? And he was like, and Garrity was like, don't worry about it. And I was just like, oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah. But Baker's slow burn, I was like, damn.
Are you ready to get into the horny moments? There's so many. This is what made the rating of this book for me lower. It's just too many. Way too many.
But if they were playing hockey, though.
See, in that show, and I'm assuming book because it's based off of a book, like there's a reason for the sex.
Yeah.
There's no, not really.
Here. Other than the fact that they're just horny teenagers.
Yeah, but you're fucking in a walk to the death. Like, keep it in your pants. All right.
No, Stephen King, man. Apparently, he's known for this type of shit. So
yeah, that I saw a meme where it was just like he tried to pretend to be Richard Bachman and be someone else, and it was like, we all know it was you. Look at how horny it is. Yeah. But all right. So chapter 1, we start off on chapter. Garrity takes a warning to make out with a girl on the side of the road and grabs her ass. This is before we know he has a girlfriend. But, at the beginning, and it would be different if you're like, oh, he just kissed someone on the side of the road. That would be fine. I would have been fine with that. But he added the gotta cop a feel too.
And plus, it's on national television, so she's gonna see it, dude. Like, but she kissed me. You grabbed her ass.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 2. There's a woman by a VW bus that Garrity could see right up her dress at her blue underwear and got aroused. This is immediately after the first death in the walk. So someone like literally just died, but then he looks over to the side, sees panties, and immediately hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Still in chapter 2. They pass by another town and there's a girl with large breast, and he watches them jiggle, and Garrity wonders if the girl is a virgin like him. Chapter 3. Garrity thinks about the girl he kissed in chapter 1 and how putting his hand on her ass excited him, and what would have happened if he tried to put his hands between her legs, and he gets hard again. Garrity also thinks about his girlfriend back home, and I put parentheses, so he's a cheater. How her breasts aren't as big as the girl he kissed. He reminisces about touching his girlfriend's boobs and how she wouldn't let him have sex with her, and that he didn't know how to make her want to. He then wonders how many of the other guys on the walk are also virgins.
They are walking to survive, and all you can think about is tits and ass. Like, what? I'm with you. It's so random.
Chapter 4.
A different book within the book.
Chapter 4. McBride tells Garrity that if he gets out of this, he's going to jerk off until his cock turns blue.
Yeah,
that he's never been so horny in his life. Again, this is the horniest you've ever been in your life while people are dying around you.
Yeah. Curly bit the shit earlier on.
And that he could even get horny for Garrity if Garrity didn't need a shave. He then calls himself Prince Charming, and that all he needs is a sleeping beauty to wake up with a sloppy kiss. McBride then asks Olsen if he believes in true love, and Olsen answers, I believe in a good screw. Then chapter 4, still in chapter 4.
This is like 25%, guys, by the way.
The boys start talking about necrophilia, and Garrity is like, why are we talking about this? And Abraham says, I think we all might take a moment or two to stop and think about the sex life there may be in the next world. And McBride claims Marilyn Monroe.
Well, yeah, that part too, I was like, what are we doing? Because they're like, do you ever think about necrophilia? And the one kid's like, what's necrophilia? I'm like, how do we get here?
And then we're still in chapter 4, guys. Garrity thinks about his mom singing him an Irish lullaby when he was little, and how her face was so huge and beautiful, the face of an actress, and wanting to kiss her and be in love with her, and that when he grew up, he would marry her. What the fuck? Then his mom's face was replaced by his girlfriend's face, and then her face became the face of Jimmy Owens, the kid who lived down the block. He remembers a moment when they were both 5 years old playing doctor, and they both had boners, and both their moms getting mad at them. Then flash to when they're 7 years old, looking at photos of naked ladies with cloth covering down there, and arguing about what's down there on a woman. Then Jimmy tells Garrity that he's seen his mom naked, and that women are, quote, hairy down there and cut open. And Garrity refused to believe Jimmy. Again, what the fuck?
So, all right, let's just sit here and say, okay, horny teenagers, we get that. We've got cheating. We've got him thinking about cheating. We've got Oedipus complex. We've got necrophilia. We've got kids getting boners for the first time because that needs to be talked about in this book. By the way,
Yeah.
they're walking so they can survive and not die.
Now let's talk about 5-year-old boys.
And also, we still don't know how the fuck we got here.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're in chapter 5. So that was all chapter 4. Chapter 5, direct quote. Davidson told them about the time he got drunk at the state fair and crawled into the hoochie cooch tent and got biffed in the head by a big fat mama wearing nothing but a G-string. And then later, quote, the red hot big fat mama let him feel her up for a little bit.
Hey, man, now we know where Alan Jackson got the inspiration for it gets harder than a hoochie coochie.
Chapter 6, Garrity is thinking about his girlfriend again and how on this long walk she had become to mean more to him than she actually was. Direct quote, she had turned into a life symbol, a shield against the sudden death that came from the half track. More and more he wanted her because she symbolized a time when he could have a piece of ass.
Yeah. So again, guys, this book is about 100 kids competing so they to win the grand prize in a dystopian place, mainly in the United States. They do say that it is the United States. As kids get hallucinated, and they have bonds, and then there's really not an antagonist. We really don't know why they're here. We really don't know a lot of their motivation, but we do know about all the sexual stuff that goes on. Do you see where the why?
And the thing is, like, the beginning of that quote was sweet. And I was like, oh.
Irish Lullaby, too, with his mom. Like, okay, cool. It creates, his connection with his mom, and then I want to fuck her.
It's you got me in the first half.
Yeah, not gonna lie. You got me in the first half, and then what are we doing?
Chapter 7, Garrity lusts after girls who are on the side of the road to watch them walk by. Gribble cops a feel of one of the girls, and then the girl kisses him. He was about 15 seconds from getting shot, and Gribble then gets a cramp. And they're all joking like, "Oh, you got blue balls. That's why you're cramping." And then he takes his last warning and gets shot and dies. Garrity thinks about Gribble dry humping the girl and what it must feel like, and he also ejaculates in his pants from the thought of it.
As one would say, that's what you get for putting the P on the pedestal. Hey, man, that's what you get for putting the P on the pedestal.
Chapter 11, which I was just like, oh, each chapter is gonna have a horny moment, and then we went through 8, 9, and 10 with 0 horny moments, and I'm like, oh my god, Stephen King, growth.
Yeah.
And then, so chapter 11, Garrity is thinking about Jimmy and how taking off their clothes and touching each other was Jimmy's idea. Remember that they're 5. Mm-hmm. And then he starts thinking about his girlfriend, focusing on her physical attributes.
Yeah.
Granted, I just felt very uncomfortable about the memories of him and Jimmy.
Yeah. But granted, like him thinking about his girlfriend and stuff, and like that whole thing, like I could somewhat get around that because
that's fine. Yeah,
you're trying to keep yourself preoccupied and focused and all that. So I get all of that, but it just got weird, and for the setting we're in, it just didn't connect for how much we got of this type of content.
Yeah, and so then chapter 14. McVrees tells Garrity that Parker thinks that they're queer for each other and that maybe he's even half right. And quote, maybe that's why I saved your ass. Maybe I'm queer for you. McVrees then asks Garrity if he would let him jerk him off.
Yep. Dutch rudder, baby.
And I was like, I think you guys might get lower than 4 miles per hour.
Yeah. 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 The heart rate would be up over 4 miles per hour, but
Chapter 15, Steven makes fun of Garrity and ribs him, saying, "Don't you want to marry your mother when you grow up? That's what most little boys want." Little did he know that was an earlier thought in Garrity's mind. Steven then tells Garrity he's a second-class intellect, a second-class physical specimen, and probably a second-class libido. Then calls him a virgin and maybe a little queer, quote, a touch of the lavender. and he says, "Quote, don't be afraid. You can talk to Papa Steffens."
Yeah. So Stebbins was agitating everybody. So that was kind of
Yeah.
like his character. Again, that's okay. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that we got so much other of this type of
Yeah,
stuff. And
if that was there and then just like a little bit earlier, that'd be fine. If it wasn't every single fucking chapter,
right.
basically. And then the last one, chapter 15, Parker, quote, "I got girls everywhere, you dumb hump. They take one look at this face and cream in their silks."
Okay, that again, if this wasn't every gosh damn chapter, this would make sense.
Yeah. So those were the
There's always that macho ladies man that talks like this. Like, I mean, that's fine. It's the over use of it.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot here, and like we'll get into like the dislike part, and it's not. I think part of like the queerness and like that part being written about is like it's a straight guy trying to write queer characters, and it just never came off well, and then kind of just came off icky. Along with like just a lot of other stuff just kind of came off icky.
Yeah.
It's not feeding the. No. It's like read the room kind of.
A lot of times, because I was listening to it a lot when I was driving, and a lot of times when I get there, I just sit there and be like, "What the hell just happened? Like what? Like it just didn't make sense. It didn't."
I kept going like, "What the fuck? Like, why?" And then I would rewind to make sure I heard what I just heard.
Did I hear them talk about necrophilia? Because there was like, we talk about necrophilia, and I'm like, why? Why are we here?
Yeah, it's just. And then I also recorded moments of what the fuck that weren't completely sexual in nature, because there were a few of those. Chapter 1, Garrity's mother is called an invalid by her son. Yes, this was written in 1979. Still not great. Chapter 2, McBride's brought raw hamburger with him, and Garrity regrets not bringing raw hamburger too because he likes it and thinks it beats chocolate bars and concentrates. That one was just weird.
What was Stephen King? What is Stephen King like as a delicacy? I know some people actually do like raw, like those like the like Jim
beef,
Bros
like a beef tartare or something. But like I'm assuming this raw beef in your backpack is not going to be.
No, but as I got close towards the end of the book, he was craving it, but they were just so starving and just
So I was just like that's just weird. Like he just brought raw beef with him to Nan. That was the Slavic guy, Barkovich. He uses the N-word.
Yeah,
not great.
And well, I think you're going to get to the other.
Yeah. This one was not hard R. We do get later a hard R. Not great.
From a sign.
Then chapter 4, when the boys are talking about necrophilia, they say some homophobic stuff on top of the necrophilia stuff. So you get a double whammy of what the fuck is going on here. Chapter 5, Pearson asks Garrity and the boys if they've ever had an enema. Harkness reveals he had one after one Halloween after eating too much candy, and then Pearson asks him if he liked it, and he's like, of course not, no, and reveals that his little brother loves them.
So
why?
So the homophobic stuff, it's just boys being boys and that stuff. Yeah. You might not like it, but at least in the book itself, like, okay, there's a bunch of assholes.
It makes sense for the boys to say something like homophobic in there, but I'm still gonna call it out anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the random citizen with the sign with the hard R in it, I'm like, why?
And then chapter 11, people taking pictures of Garrity as he takes a shit. Yeah. Which, I mean, that would happen, but I was just like,
what was it? Who was it was early on in the book where the kid's getting diarrhea and he's like, he can't squat. So he's like walking and shitting at the same time.
It's awful. and then, chapter 11, again, N-word again, but this time with the hard R.
Yeah. Because the thing is like, Yeah, the one when they did drop the N word the first time, it was, there was the like McFreeze and all them, they had the correct reaction to it. You want to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But the sign, like, it was just there, and they couldn't react to it. But he didn't. If this is again the world building, if the world building was there to know that certain towns and certain places are racist,
or like even what year we're in.
right?
I know this was written in 1979, but this is obviously a dystopian. What year was this set in?
Right.
What's the political climate? We don't know.
We don't. So it just was like, and hard R.
Yeah, not great.
And it wasn't even used as like a big plot point of them getting into a fight, which causes a turmoil. No, it's just some random citizen on the side,
randomly there on the side of the road.
Side of the road. Like, again, this is where the plot thing happens. It didn't have.
And then, as we were talking, thoughts on the ending going in there. I was sad with McFreeze, which we covered already before. And I don't know how to feel about Garrity being so delusional that he keeps walking and then runs, even though he won. So, like, those are my thoughts on the ending. How do you feel about the end of the book?
I felt hopeless at the end of the book. Because at the end of it, I had to double check. I'm like, I think he was hallucinating the whole time, because there were, you seeing this figure that he's running. Like, he sees the major, like, he gets where he's at, but he's so just like spent and exhausted. And who knows how dehydrated and starving he is. Like, his body is just done. It's completely done. And he also he's also grieving at the same time for McFreeze and Baker and all that. Even he still, I think he still has a little bit of thing for, like, has some respect for Stebbins and stuff like that. So, like, going through this craziness of watching 99 people die as you're going through this, and then you're also exhausted, and then you're also starving, and all your body's just gone to the brink of everything. And he didn't even give a shit about, he forgot what he was doing or what he was even doing to be there. And so I had to go back. I said, I'm pretty sure he was hallucinating. So I did go, like, I did have to research. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he was hallucinating. And it just made me feel like
he's going to run himself to death.
Yeah, and the thing is, some people say, don't run your heart out. And he kind of did, in a sense. But also, too, I get what he was trying to get at, but the message sucked.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. That's one. If this is a book just about, like, interpersonal relationships, I can understand that as being like but to me, I like a book where, like, what is the reason for this book to exist? What story are you trying to tell? And that story and the reason can be just pure entertainment. Like, it doesn't need to be something like philosophical or something like political or anything of that nature. The reason literally can be like, oh, this is just here for pure entertainment. But at the end of this, it's like, why was this story made? I don't know. And therefore, I don't know how to feel about the ending, because if he wins and then we get a little bit about, like, with the aftermath of what going through that process was, maybe that would have been a better ending. I don't know.
Like, go ahead, keep going.
But the ending being kind of like, and it's a movie that I like, Inception, where you don't see if the totem falls or not. I don't know.
I mean, I wanted, like with Forrest Gump, when he took care of, Bubba Gump Shrimp, and he took care of Bubba's family. It's like, I want to see him, like, go to McFreeze's family and help them out, or Baker's family, because they were talking about all the stuff that they do and the bond that they shared. I would have liked to have seen that. Instead, we got what I call a Coen Brothers film. It was like, well, that happened, because that's what kind of ending of a Coen Brothers film is. That doesn't make them bad. The Coen Brothers films, most of them are great, but they always leave you with, here's the ending. You let me know how you feel about it, because I'm leaving it open for interpretation. And sometimes it works, like Inception. Yeah. It still bugged you, but you still were like, oh, but it works. Cool though. It works. Yeah. And Coen Brothers films, most of the time, they work, because
Even like The Sopranos, like
Yeah.
there's people who love that ending and people who don't. My father is one who
Spoilers.
loves
I
it.
haven't watched it.
Well, I'm not spoiling it, but I'm saying,
yeah, I know the
yeah,
ending. Like,
everyone knows. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a show that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
We have talked a little bit about our dislikes of this book, but is there any other dislike that you would want to highlight?
No, I mean, I pretty much said it. Is like the plot, the lack of plot didn't, the lack of plot hurt the book because of all the random things that happened within the book that didn't make sense because he just couldn't tie everything in for what he was. It felt like he was trying to do 7 things at once in the book a lot of times. Whereas like all this horniness stuff is like, yeah, we would get that, but you still don't know. You still know a lot of motivations. They would just as soon as and it was too like especially for the beginning chapters you would be like, okay, McVrees, Garrity, Stebbins, Baker, the Slavic kid. Like you got a core of like 6 or 7 characters that he established, but then every chapter, by the way, this character that you never heard about, guess what? They're gonna die. It's like watching.
Yeah, I was fine with that.
It just, I don't know. It just kind of pigeonholed it to a sense of
it made it repetitive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It got repetitive, and but that so there's like those things got repetitive, but just the lack of world building and then the random fodder that happened throughout the book where he really just didn't go anywhere. You really didn't have discussions of you really didn't go into why all the like really big motivations of them, and half the time they're just talking about boners and necrophilia and Oedipus complexes and stuff, and just like that didn't necessarily need to be here. One off here, one off there, great.
Yeah,
but I need more plot driven conversations or exhibition of some sort, and it was just a bunch of dudes walking and talking.
Yeah, it was one of those, and obviously I've never been a teenage boy before. You have, but I've been friends with a lot of like when I was a teenager, I was friends with mostly guys, and so I was around them. And yes, sex and like horniness does exist at a young age, and like is in the forefront of a lot of my guy friends' brains. But it wasn't an all the time thing that was discussed at every moment of every.
No, it wasn't a bunch of. It wasn't. It was this book should not have been dick and balls driven. Okay, and it very much was.
Yeah. My dislike. So one of them, Stebbins, being the major son. That plot point felt kind of like it didn't. You could have taken that plot point out of the story. It would have been the exact same story. It was like it felt like it was like a shock.
That's another one that I did.
It was a shock reveal just to be a shock reveal, and it happened like very late in the book. I think like it was at the 95% in the audiobook. I think was where it was. I think there was like 20 minutes left of the audiobook, and that could have been something really cool. But it was too late, and it kind of didn't change anything of the story. Yeah. The major could have been a much bigger character in the story, and he just wasn't. It was he was just that figure, kind of like godlike figure on the outside.
Yeah.
And then
agreed on that. That was another thing is you didn't really get like who's the major. Don't worry about it. You're not going to know.
And Mark Hamill plays him in the movie. So I'm hoping that they do more with him because it's Mark Hamill.
Right.
Like, you're not going to have Mark Hamill. You're not going to pay Mark Hamill money for someone that's going to not barely be there.
You never know. Getting a lot of money for 2 seconds of work.
Okay. And then the whole sexuality thing and Garrity's sexuality. I said it earlier. I don't think it was handled very well. Like the flashbacks of him with like his 5-year-old self playing doctor with his friends' families going on. If you can hear in the background, and it was just like, okay, if that was the starting point, okay, you get that at 5 years old, and then from 5 to now he's 17. There is zero flashbacks, zero thoughts of his past where there was any queer thought or queer moment in his life. The only time he's ever had a queer moment up until he's 17 was when he was 5 years old. And that's just not accurate. Like, when you're a queer person, you're gonna, if you're a person anyways, you're gonna think about the people that you're attracted to. Like, when you're a kid, you're gonna have your celebrity crushes, you're gonna have that, you're gonna have things like, there's other moments of like, so it's very weird to me. They're like, oh, this happened with I'm fine. Maybe I'm gay, or maybe I'm queer or bi, or
Bat out the Pink Ranger.
but it's just like, no, there was like, literally, it was just like 5 years old, and then now he's 17, and it just, I don't know. It felt very odd to me. It felt like it wasn't written well, and maybe it's because it's a straight guy trying to write a queer character. But
yeah, no, I just trust me. If I did the whole thing and it was just like, all right, we're going to talk about the Pink Ranger, we're going to talk about Topanga, we're going to talk about like, okay,
Topanga.
we're going to talk about Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell. Like, we're okay. Like, there's those,
Yeah. So it was just, I don't know. Some of those things were just like, and maybe again, he wrote this when he was young, and like, he published it a little later, but who knows how much he changed from when he originally wrote it. But it's just a lot of weird. So those are my dislikes. I don't hate this book. There was good things in this book. As we talked about our favorite moments, but I think I did rate this like 2.5, 3 stars out of 5.
Yeah, kind of. I was like it was in the 3 range for me. Just because like I said, the beginning of it was fine. Just getting to know the characters. The middle parts were just a lot of nothing to me. I was waiting for something to happen because, it was just like, next chapter, we're having a conversation, sexual stuff, random people on the side, setting that you're in, like describing their surroundings. Like, it was just a lot of that. And then a kid dies. Oh, next chapter, they're walking. They say a bunch of sexual stuff. There's the settings. Like, it was very rinse and repeat in those middle chapters.
And those middle chapters could have been, because like, one of my favorite movies is 12 Angry Men, and that's just 12 guys in a room just talking, right? And you can do a lot with just having people in one setting, which the setting is the road that they're walking on, and talking about things. It's just that the stuff that they were talking about was not very interesting. It was all very
good,
torn up.
Good reference. You win the reference. You win the reference of this episode. Notice I haven't done any references because it's.
I had to bring up the slack here.
I have no references for this one.
But so like, it could have been very interesting. So that's why I'm interested to see the movie, to see what they adapt from it, what they might change, fix, whatever. But
I was just let down because it was it's my first Stephen King, and you can see where he's a good writer. Like, you can see that. I mean, like I said, like the emotional stuff that happened like I said, the back half of the book with the McBreeze and the Baker of him, like those kids, like them dying, and Garrity like almost biting it like every time. And I was like, come on, Garrity, not yet. You got to keep going. Like, I felt that. It got my emotionally hooked on the book. And so you can understand why Stephen King's as good as he is, but he's also Stephen King, and I felt like I was underwhelmed by that.
Any other thoughts before we bring in Discord members?
No, let's bring in Ryan and ask him what the hell, man.
Which Ryan was the one who chose the book for us, so it's his fault. We're going to add him here to the stage. Ryan, what's up?
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I mean, you at least got me to. I finally got a Stephen King book under my belt of being able to read that. I was slightly disappointed in the book for being a Stephen King novel.
It was a non-horror related Stephen King, so I mean, but if yeah, I'm sure there's quite a bit better Stephen King books out there to choose from. But it was probably one of the shortest ones.
Yeah, yeah. It
So,
was
what are your thoughts on the book?
Yeah, it's fine. No, yeah, it had its moments. I really wanted to see how the movie plays. Is
Mhm.
this a case where the movie could be better than the book? Because
Right.
there's a lot of pieces there that I could see, but like, how are they going to do it? Because obviously it is a lot of walking, dying, walking, and then pervertedness, because that's just how they go. But I don't think a lot of that stuff you were talking about, I question how much of that will actually be in the book.
Right.
Uh, so, yeah, when you're making something from the early 70s to now, you're going to have a whole different vibe. And yes, I'm pretty confident Mark Hamill will probably be in that one a
Yeah.
bit more and have a more of a just gusto
Yeah.
than the randomness that he comes in pops in every now and then,
Yeah.
like a little hedgehog driving in and like, hey, hi, I'm here,
I am
love
here to
me.
check. Yeah. Do you think the cocaine had anything to do with how this story was written?
Him being in high school and early, and him definitely trying to find his way, but and how everything this might have been in the 70s when to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, you saw the potential
Yeah.
of who he could be, and so that is actually, this isn't the worst book to read when you want to get a taste of Stephen King early,
Yeah.
and then maybe go get another book, 20, 25 years later, see his improvement, see,
yeah.
hey, he probably has the same character developments. I mean, they have whole entire TV series is now with his products that obviously he's put stuff together that people love, and this is one of those things that, were they reaching to try to find a book that is his that's easy to film, because probably didn't cost much for the rights or what. But it was definitely a interesting book that I wanted to kind of see how you all would take it, because it is not like one of our books that it's really easy to just to discuss,
Yeah.
chapters by beat points or anything
Yeah.
like that. It is a lot of the same, but yet not, but you still could get emotionally invested with the characters, even though the question why permeates the whole entire book. Right? I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we
Right.
here? What is going on? And they only set there's little nuggets throughout the book to try to establish what is the outside world off this road.
Yeah.
And it, like, there, because there was one sentence or a couple sentences about World War II, I believe, where the Nazis bombing with submarines along the eastern coast of the United States. I remember something about
Yeah,
that.
that was it World War II? But yeah, I remember, yeah, saying something of a bombing out.
Yeah, but that little nugget right there put me in the whole mindset of, okay, what happened was the United States lost World War II. This is actually Nazi related Germany colonization,
Yeah.
colonized, and we are actually in that whole situation. But it's been a number of years later, so we're deeper into it. So it is very white centric. um and anybody that's not there's some issues that they have, or again, since he didn't provide the backstory, you end up creating your own to
Yeah.
get their own rationales of what's going on, because obviously they didn't say what what was the reason for the
Yeah.
long walk.
And like putting it to a series that you are now, I think, caught up with like Dungeon Crawler Carl, like you get little you get little
Dang, that is a
tidbits
thick book.
in that
I got this
first
puppy
book.
signed last week.
Oh, nice.
Nice. But in that first book, you're getting little tidbits about why the whole dungeon was created on
Yeah.
Earth, and you and he could have done that with this, where like it doesn't have to be like half the book to tell us the backstory of what this world is. You can lay a few things in there to let us know like where we are setting wise, but like he just didn't.
No,
Right.
you have 100 kids on the road. You can use their conversations to map out exhibition and plot and the settings and stuff through their experiences. And instead, they're just horny teenagers.
Yes, they are. That is, yeah, it's semi-believable on the fact of they decided to join they potentially decided to join this long walk because some of them maybe just felt like they were invulnerable anyways, but they didn't totally think about it, because sometimes they felt like they were, they're semi-young adults, they're doing something important, but then they fall back to in essence they are kids and going, they're not totally at all times, because they're mentally, at a certain place, they're not grasping the full ramifications of what they are doing. And your lack of sleep and dehydration and everything like that is bringing them just all over the place in their own minds. So that's could be part of it as well.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's like it's boys only and it's between 12 and 18, so like we don't even get the why is it only boys that are on the long walk, why is it this age range, why, like we don't even get that.
Yeah, and that's where I'm just thinking it became a way to weed out certain males in this land that was taken over by Nazi Germany. Like it was just some sort of way to keep the people down, because whoever wins doesn't win, but it's a way to get rid of 100 potential adults in the future before they can become an issue.
Yeah, I like your headcanon.
Yeah, he definitely leaves a lot for interpretation, but it still felt like too much left out for interpretation.
Oh, yeah.
Is the problem.
I'm not disagreeing. I mean, there's too much why in many different aspects of why, and everything is just circled on the road, and everything in there. You have obviously good characters that you get good connections, but 10 feet off, if you go 10 feet off the road, they get shot, or we get shot as readers, because we don't get to know what's totally out there.
What would you say is your favorite moment in the book?
Oh, it does get to the point of where it's towards the end, where they get really dramatic with the people that are passing away, because you are invested more in them. I mean, yeah, early on, people are dropping off. Some you have no idea, some they barely talk about, but it's the characterization's the only thing that's really pushing this book forward. So then you're losing those people that are having that characterization towards the very end, and then you get to the end, but that's its own thing.
Yeah. I forgot my question was, but what was the thing that you wish he fleshed out more of all the things? Like I know there's a lot of why, But what was the one thing that you were just like to me, like I said, the plot was just, it irked me.
I did need some more overall history.
Yeah.
Of like where, I mean, it does. I mean, yeah, if they would actually have established what happened after, as I said, they talk about World War II subs and the eastern coast. That to me made me think it was losing the war. Give me from there on to now at least some part of it to give you a figure out like where you are and maybe how many years it's in. Maybe it's 30 years or 20 years. I mean, we're just left to guess. Get me to that point and then get me a little bit more about, if you can, at least some point during it, even why the long walk exists. I mean,
it could have been of like, because they're from different parts of the United States, and so like sometimes in school you don't always learn the same thing from state to state about an event. So you could have be like, this is what I learned in my school kind of thing, because they're school aged kids. You are assuming that they're going to school because we're not told otherwise that they're not. So it'd be like, oh, no, that's not true. This is what my teacher said. Like, there could have been that.
Yeah. Is it for money? Is it for their patriotic duty? Is it for, I don't know. Yeah. Again, as I say, I keep saying it, the why factor of all this.
I mean, if because you're talking about later, like, what really did well with the whole thing is the Man in the High Castle when it comes to what the Nazis in the U.S. and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like that really nailed it. That's totally different than The Long Walk, but I wish they would have fleshed it out like the Man in the High Castle did.
Yeah, I need to finish that series. I was watching it and I just haven't gotten a chance to get back to it. But yeah, that's definitely what made me think about that part of it to match up with here. Only because you're only given little crumbles of,
the crumble that like really got me on there's no more millionaires that exist in the United States. That part, and so I was just like, what does society look like without any millionaires? And that was an interesting question to me that I wished was then explored more.
No, man, you talk about when the little kids have boners and the mom disciplined the kid because he had a boner. Yeah, you got that's more important than fleshing out the world that we're in.
But there may be no millionaires, but there's still a certain level of income, but then they're still poor. And because that's why some people it looked like we're doing this because they had medical issues and certain things that they just had to try to win to be able to pay for that. But you hear that with a few people. It's not.
It just came to mind. Do you all think this is kind of like a play on lottery winners? Because a lot of times when lottery winners win, they really lose because you hear more horror stories about lottery winners than you do actually people prospering from it.
Yeah, so they win, but then they buy 4 boats and 2 houses, and they're bankrupt 3 years later, or family comes and takes all their I mean, it's an issue I deal with. If somebody were to hook me up with some bucks on the lottery, but I'm not going to do the long walk to do it.
No,
because it could be interpreted. You can interpret McBride's and Garrity as queer. You can interpret that they're not queer because it's not very clear so how would you interpret the queerness that was kind of added into the book and how Stephen King handled it?
And for some reason, maybe I just didn't really catch that they're really going that direction.
I didn't either.
I mean, they're making comments and they're closer than they are with each other than most people on that walk. But if they were trying to put that out there, it wasn't strong one way or the other, depending on who's reading it.
Yeah, I would say that it's not very clear on McBride's side. It was clearer to me that Stephen King was trying to put like the is there a possibility of queerness with Garrity
Mm.
there because of he kept thinking about him
Yeah,
when he was 5
yeah,
and he kept thinking about even just Jimmy, and Jimmy's face kept popping up even when they
yeah.
were
And yeah. I
older.
mean,
It's
I remember some of that too. But
and so I was just like, okay, like because it wasn't done well. I was just like,
right.
is he queer?
Are we talking trying to, yes, straight male doing this, straight male in the 70s trying to do this,
Yeah,
probably even more difficult to
yeah,
flesh it out on
No, man, it
paper.
was totally acceptable. What are we talking about?
Back then.
Like,
Oh yeah.
we were so just accepted back then compared to now.
Yeah, I mean,
hundred
yeah, yeah.
percent.
70s, 90s. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like to me, you can totally put like McBride's when it, like making the joke about like oh I'll jerk you off like. That could be a joke. That could be a joke. It's a weird joke to make with your guy friend, maybe, but
Yeah. It's yeah. I just think the book could have been probably another 50 pages or
yeah,
maybe 100 because it didn't have to be like it was the low 300s and yeah, it could have. This is 800 plus or something like that.
yeah,
Right.
Didn't need that to be, but yeah, give me a bit more to flesh out the worlds and maybe some of those other items. Then hey, maybe you
yeah.
can.
Yeah.
But
Because
I
I'm
want to
looking
see
back here
how
on
it connects to how the movie's going to come
right.
together with
It's
this
an
because
88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Take
Yeah.
that for what you want.
Because like looking at the quote here too, maybe that's why I saved your ass. Maybe I'm queer for you.
uh,
That to me that was just kind of a joke
Yeah.
and not really like a
Yeah.
really hinting
Right.
at it.
But then that was like the second moment of him saying something of that nature of like maybe I'm queer for you, and I'm like, okay,
nah, and I think that felt more sarcasm
Yeah.
of in a 1970s way. Sarcasm
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
wouldn't stick
Yeah.
the landing there, but
I,
but
like I said,
it could.
I've never been a teenage boy, and I definitely wasn't a teenage boy in the 70s. So,
I was in the 80s, but
I was in the 90s, so but yeah, I mean we would joke on some dumb shit. So but it was 88.
would you joke about jerking your friends off?
No, not at all.
I mean that was last Tuesday. What are you talking about?
Sorry. Yeah, it's Dutch writers. Not anyway. The Long Walk, according to, is at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's what I was saying earlier. So take that with what you will. It is 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. When I scroll down to some of the people's reviews as you all were talking, some people were like, "This is my favorite book." I'm like, "When did you read this and why?" But hey, man, if it's your favorite book, that's hey, man. I'm glad. Or lady, I'm glad you do. I'm glad it is. It's not mine, but that's okay. This is what art is.
Yeah, there is no kink shaming here.
No, it is. You are entitled to your own opinion. Books and art alone are entitled to everyone's. It's all subjective and how you interpret it and how it means to you. And if it's one of your favorite books, we are not going to judge you on them. I disagree with you, but that doesn't mean that I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, you're wrong." On that, that's my art is art, and if you like it, great. If I don't like it and you like it, that's also great. That's okay.
Yeah, because maybe they are just purely character-driven folks to a certain extent, and other things just don't bother them. It depends on what they're I don't know. Depend who knows where they're in their life.
Yeah. There's plot, as we said before, like there's plot-driven people that like they don't need characterization as long as the plot is good. And then there's characterization people that are like, oh, if the characters are good and like really fleshed out, I don't care what the plot is, they can be anywhere. And then there's the people that are like, I need both.
That's me. I need both.
It didn't have the plot, and it only had some of the characterization. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's the issue. You had so many people. I mean, I was for a little while. I was trying to keep some of them people straight, and I'm like, who are we talking about? Who's this one?
I had the wiki page up the whole time to make sure that like.
Okay,
I'm like,
that's cool.
And the wiki page tells you the order of everyone's death, so that helps too. So I had that up.
All 99 of them.
Jimmy's getting it. Jimmy's getting it now. I'm waiting.
Hey, justice for Curly, man.
And a lot of them just say unknown.
Yeah. Some people just decide to walk off the road.
That's what I was getting like when I was starting, when like the beginning of the book, it was like every chapter was like this, like, 95, 93 bottles, that Garrity was saying is like 93 bottles.
Pass it around.
Yeah, 93 bottles, 92. And I'm like, we're at chapter 5 of 18 and you only are at 90. You still have 90. Like, where are we at? Like, when are we going to start dropping? It sounds morbid, but that's what I was like. I'm like, it's a short book. We only have so much to go.
But that actually kind of made sense because most people are going to be all right for quite a while. And then if you didn't train for it and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people would probably go at the same time or after some large event. I mean, some of those overnights in the middle of the night where it's dark and rainy. And I mean, that easily could knock people out because it was just... you and your mind.
Sometimes you don't want to be the first, too.
No.
Yeah.
Justice for Curly.
You're like, I'm going to hold out so I'm not the first one that goes, because then you're always remembered in history as the first one that went.
That's why I can remember Curly. Of all the characters, I knew Curly because he was the first one to go. But that reminds me, another thing I did like is how you were saying of like training and stuff. Olsen's character. Him, like, they were like, oh my gosh, like and then he even bit the dust earlier on than you thought he was, because they built him up as like this, he was Achilles of the thing.
He's gonna
he's got it. And even how
Olsen was a character like all, huh?
Yeah, well, that and true. And then also it was good on. I do want to highlight that. I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan, about like how you train for it. It shows you how grueling this thing really is the fact that Olsen was an Adonis, and he still couldn't survive.
I mean, there's physically being ready and mentally being ready. I mean, you could have been so physically ready and you assumed you were going to take it, but then once the trials and tribulations actually happen, are you mentally ready to handle it? And you need to have people to help you through it too.
That's why the McVrees and Garrity and Baker.
I mean, that's why we said at the beginning, 4 miles an hour is a lot faster than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you hear about some of the movie theaters that did have the movie playing, but they also had treadmills? So when you're watching it, you had to stay doing that walk, doing the whole movie. And if you fall below it during it, you're kicked out of that movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Was that the Alamo in Austin? They always do that type of thing. I know there's not many Alamos left, but
one of those type of places, But it was definitely a special event. But it was a treadmills. They're all lined up, and you had to stay above. I'm like, that would have been interesting. I don't know if I want to do it.
I would not have.
I'll pass on that, but I like where their head's at. That would be kind of a cool thing. I mean, I've done a Western. That was part of the campus activities board. Still knows what I'm talking about. Basically, we would be the student body that puts on events throughout on campus. So one of the things that we would do is during Halloween, we would downtown. It's a small little theater, but we would do the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Were they still doing that when we were there? So basically, we would put on Rocky Horror Picture Show. All the people that come out, big fans of Rocky Horror Picture Show, they come dressed up and all this stuff. And as the movie's playing, then we'd also have people like the actors, the actors like come and start doing stuff, and they would throw rice, and it was just a big whole ordeal. So it's kind of like that, but that was just treadmills. But still, that's the first time that I've been to a movie people going to watch a movie, but it was more of a event and a show.
Yeah, they're still doing it. I think now.
It's always a big hit. As far as I've known.
I would do it every year.
Running on, some things just keep happening, and that's definitely one of those.
Yeah,
but any final thoughts on this book, and are you excited to read Watchmen for January?
Final thoughts. I had to reread the ending a few times. the last couple pages, I'm like, what am I reading here? Because I mean, did he? I mean, yeah, he saw the general and all that, or the colonel, and then he saw that other figure. Was he, yeah, hallucinating to see death? I mean, did he literally just walk himself to death and, cut screen, and he actually just died right there because he just broke himself down? Yeah, I didn't like those last couple pages because it just how ish.
My thought process is so like he's hallucinating, he's seeing another person, so he in his mind is thinking, oh, the walk is not done, I still need to go, and he starts to run because the person's so far ahead. And in my head canon is that he keeps running until he runs himself to death,
and he may have, or they had to stop him. I mean, that's the thing. If it's just,
or the major drives up in his little mobile and like freaking.
I would sit there and say the major probably didn't, but because it's on national TV, he has to save face, so he might have done that. But I was kind of the same way. As when the ending happened, I kind of looked around. I was like, oh, I was like a Jim Carrey from the Liar Liar, where he just like spits out the water. I'm like, oh, come on, that was the ending. That was it. That's all we got.
Yeah. Yes, that was same. As for The Watchmen, I need to pick it up or buy it. I mean, I can't get it from the library. Can't say I'm excited about it, only because I really don't. I've watched the movie and it's been years, and I don't have it like in my head, like everything about it. So I need to get around to get to it.
It is for the people out there, and obviously our Discord, join down below. We'd love to have everyone else on, not just Ryan. But for as a person who has read The Watchmen, and is one of my favorite books, not just graphic novels that I've ever read, and I haven't read it in quite some time, so I'm excited to pick it back up again. My buddy has it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to meet up with him and grab it from him because I don't know where my copy is. Yay, go me! But it is amazing. Have you never read it before? You just watched the movie, right?
Yeah.
It's different, but it's still the same. But they do have it's Alan Moore. He's really good, and I think you will very much enjoy it. I don't want to hype it up too much because obviously, if you just were okay with the movie, which I kind of was okay with the movie, I watched the movie first, and then I read the graphic novel, and I was like, oh, dude, this graphic novel is different.
I've never seen the movie.
The movie's fine. It's fine.
And the first time I read this was in college. My college professor for English class had us read Watchmen, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So we read it and like analyzed the book, and so that was fun. And it's a graphic novel that I very much enjoy, but I have not read since I was in college.
Yeah.
So
it's been about 15 years since I've read it. So.
Yeah, nice little round 2 refresh for y'all.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll boycott next month, so you will have to force to get somebody else on.
Right. I mean, T, I think, was saying that she's lurking, and if you're still watching, hi girl.
Yeah.
But I think she was saying that she didn't know how she felt about the book, that she hadn't finished it yet, but she was kind of probably in the same boat as us of like, what's going on? I have some questions.
Right. GIF was in the comments section. I will bring that up. He said Stephen King is a drag to read sometimes. This is the first book, so I'll take your word for it.
This was not a picker-upper, as in your emotional well-being, and we could probably use that more of a. But now I'm questioning if The Watchmen will be a lifter-upper either, though.
No comment on that.
Okay, I shall find out.
Yeah. But Ryan, as always, thank you. And hey, Discord guys, peoples, come on down below, join us. Not just, I mean, we need to just reread 2 Days of Maury's and just have everyone back on again. That we did that time.
That's the only one where
I do have a Mitch Abom book, guys, that I'm yet to read.
Justin came on, Brennan came on.
Yeah.
And then you intimidated them too much, and they don't want to.
I guess so.
I guess I don't know, but Ryan, as always, it was a pleasure, man.
All right.
See?
Good night, y'all.
We did it again, Soul.
We did it.
We did it again. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. No spoilers on The Watchmen. If you've watched the movie, obviously, guys, I can't recommend that book enough for The Watchmen, and I can't wait to reread it and see if it still hits 15 years later than it did when I first read it. That was one of the first ones that I can remember where I was like, couldn't put it down. It was one of those just like really, really good ones.
You know what? I lied. I've read it more recently than college. I read it right before that the HBO series came out. I've reread the comic.
Was Regina King in that one?
Yes.
It only lasted for one season? Yeah.
And the series was great, and I remember loving the reread. So I'm excited to reread again.
Yeah. Well, so we did it again.
We did it.
For all the people at home on where to catch us, Mondays, no more fancy F around. But shout out to Ryan for winning it. So I guess, we gotta keep him around in our Discord so we let you win, Ryan. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking crap after you're off screen. No, congratulations on that. We're getting your trophy and all of that set up. And then on Wednesdays, we got Rev Sports Wrap It Up again. And also on Thursdays, Justin and I will be breaking down the world of wrestling with Ruckus Wrestling at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Oh, I'll hate all I want, Ryan. Don't give me that. Yeah, okay. You won. I'm a little jealous. You beat us. That's right, Sol. I did it. You beat us.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging all the hard work that I do for our fantasy team.
Yes. You put in so much work.
So much work.
You are the owner of the team. I'm just the general manager. So I could be fired at any point, but that means you have to do it. So I doubt I'll be fired. I think my job security is
pretty secure.
Pretty secure with my general manager role. And then stay tuned. We will have obviously get your picks in for the NFL playoffs, which start tomorrow. But our bracket bitches, obviously we'll come on. Me and So will be back on to talk about those brackets. Congratulations to Sean, as we said on Wednesday's Wrap It Up, for winning the tournament. I don't know what the hell it's called, the early tournament or whatever.
The NBA Cup.
The NBA Cup. Yeah. Congratulations to Sean for winning that one. And Sol and Tushka for tying for the MLS, correct?
Mm-hmm. And then Sean won, what was it? The NWSL as well. Yeah.
So shout out to everyone winning except for me.
Well, thank you as always for doing this with me. And we are now in 2026. So that was wrapping up our 2025 book club. If everyone wants to just in the comments down below or in the Discord, talk about what was your favorite read this year. And for those who are not part of the Discord, why?
Yeah.
But if you're not, also let us know in the comments down below. What was your favorite read this year? And what would you like us to read and cover? We have some stuff already picked out because I'm being a book-tater for some of the months. So
giving her too much power, guys. She's getting power hungry right now.
This was voted on. So we got January already. February, March, I was a book-tater for. I chose the books for us. But we will have some voting for some of the months, not all of them. I can't give you guys too much powers. Time travel, bitch. Yeah. If you know, you know. But as always, thank you. Thank you to Ryan. Thank you to those in the chat. And thank you to those who come back and watch later. We shall see you next time.
See you.